5 NBA players who turned their career around this season. My name is Josh, your Enviers. Let's start off first talking about the man on the thumbnail, Derrick Rose. I feel like everyone knows his story and how heartbreaking and motivational his career has been in the NBA. On Twitter, you can follow me on Twitter, by the way, at Enviers. Link's always in the description, as well as Instagram at Enviers. I compare myself a lot to Derrick Rose, not a professional super athlete that plays basketball, but as a YouTuber who likes to use it as an analogy to compare both of our careers. The youngest MVP of the league, who had a major injury and had setback after setback, gets traded from his hometown team, and it looks like everyone's saying he's washed and he'll never get to that level again. And has a midlife crisis and tells himself, is basketball really what I want to pursue? But then just a year later, turns his career around, drops 50 points, cries, and is in the running for 6th Man of the Year. That's Derrick Rose. Or I could say that's me, but then I read this quote and I said, nah, I can't be Derrick Rose. He's averaging 18 points per game this season, 4 assists, 3 rebounds, a vital asset to the struggling Minnesota Timberwolves in a Western Conference that's 14 teams deep this season. Super proud of what Derrick Rose has been able to do compared to last year where his NBA future was uncertain. Next, let's talk about Javale McGee. LeBron's calling him DPOY, Defensive Player of the Year. And although I'm not LeBron and I think every trash song is heat, I will agree with him that Javale McGee has been a beautiful sight for the Los Angeles Lakers and is playing his role perfectly for this team. The stigma of being the Shaq and a Fool king, I felt got to him and made the NBA community perceive him as just some big goofball that had no game whatsoever. From winning championships with the Golden State Warriors and playing a backup role to now having a starting job with the Lakers once again, turning his 4 points per game to 12 points per game and up almost everything else, averaging 6 rebounds and almost 3 blocks per game. It's good to see him perform well and hopefully have the NBA community remove the stigma of him not being a good player and having low IQ. Let's stay in LA to talk about the next player, Tobias Harris of the Los Angeles Clippers. Tobias made a name for himself the moment he was traded out of Milwaukee to the Orlando Magic. Unfortunately, his old coach Scott Skiles followed him there and then traded him away again to the Detroit Pistons, which eventually traded him to the Los Angeles Clippers. So it's definitely been a career for Tobias Harris, being traded from team to team and not seeming to have a constant home. But this year in the Western Conference, the Clippers are winning, surprisingly, without any all-star. That is, until Tobias Harris becomes one himself this season. He's having the best season of his career so far, averaging 21 points per game, 8 rebounds. He's that small forward, power forward player that the Clippers desperately needed in the time of Chris Paul, Blake Griffin, and DeAndre Jordan's time there. Now that they got one, hopefully the Clippers can keep on to Tobias Harris and hopefully keep on winning. Because if that happens, the Clippers are going to be a nice destination for any free agent this offseason. Moving on, let's talk about Zach LaVine of the Chicago Bulls. In the 2016-2017 season, Zach LaVine tore his ACL. Then was traded to the Chicago Bulls, a part of the Jimmy Butler trade. Came back that season to only play 24 games. He wasn't anything super special in his return to the Chicago Bulls last year, but Chicago was given a choice to pay this man or let him go to the Sacramento Kings. He's getting paid $19.5 million for the next 4 years with the Chicago Bulls team, and what is a serious injury and an ACL tear, Zach LaVine has come back and hasn't missed a step, it seems like, averaging 24 points per game, almost 5 assists and 5 rebounds. Right now, this early in the season, he's probably the leading candidate to win Most Improved Player this year. Mind you, he is on the Bulls. There's a lot of injuries with the young guys like Chris Dunn, Bobby Portis, Denzel Valentine, Markkanen was out for a while. A lot of the key guys for the Bulls' future weren't playing. And also because they're the Bulls and they're not expected to be in the playoffs this season. So we'll see if Zach LaVine can continue this play throughout the season and upon the next few years with the Bulls. Last but not least, let's talk about Iman Shumpert of the Sacramento Kings. I wanted to put Shumpert last simply for the fact that compared to all the other guys I mentioned on this list, he was never some mega all-star that's going to carry any team. Maybe at one point with the Knicks, but then he tore his ACL and then ended up with Cleveland, got a championship, and then had injuries all last year. didn't play that many games, traded to the Sacramento Kings, and now has seemed to revitalize and rejuvenate his career from the time playing with LeBron to now playing with a young upcoming team like the Kings. It honestly looked like the past 2 seasons that Iman Shumpert's career was coming to an end in the NBA. Or maybe he was just hurt the past 2 seasons and wasn't producing the way he normally does. He's a great defensive player for the Sacramento Kings, and he's making an impact. He's a champion, and he brings veteran leadership for the Kings. So when you add him into that starting lineup with all the young guys like Buddy Hield and De'Aaron Fox, he averages 9 points a game, 3 rebounds, and 1 assist, which, like I said in the beginning, talking about Iman, not an all-star caliber player, but he seems to know his role with the Kings, and he's playing very well. So those are 5 players I feel like revitalized their career this season. Let me know in the comment section below, do you agree, do you disagree, or name any other players that are having a great season as well, that didn't have as great of a season last year. Be sure to leave a like, share the video around, check out some of these other videos on screen, subscribe, all that. I'll talk to you in the next one.